All right, hello everybody. I'm just making a quick video here talking about sort of general leveling stuff that you should know, tips and tricks, items, consumables, all that sort of stuff. Expansion's out in 3 days, so I really should have done this much earlier. I apologize. I've been doing a lot of stuff. The campaign being bugged for so long kind of forced me to have to do a lot here in this last week or two. Anyways, so I've put a link to a Google Doc down below. It's completely free, of course. Like, I'm not trying to charge for anything. If you haven't used Google Docs before, just know that you can go into File and create your own copy, and you can edit your own copy if you want to make changes and stuff. Obviously, anyone can see it with the link, but they can't edit it. Only I can edit it. I'm still working on some sections of it, so there will be some changes. If you create your own copy and start making your own edits and stuff, just be aware that you won't see any changes I make after that point. So anyway, so the doc that we have here just has some basic stuff. So the amount of XP that you need for each level, the first level is 225k, last level is 445k, so it scales up a lot. This is similar to all the other previous expansions. Total amount of XP you need is 3,300,000 and 18 there. Okay, we'll get to the XP stuff later. Anyways, the zones, there actually is a little bit of a scaling system in the zones. It doesn't really matter because this only affects your first character. But just for the record, enemies do level up as you level up. So in the Isle of Dorn, it's 70-73. So if you come to an area at 73, everything will be 73. I'm here at level 70, so all the enemies are level 70. So that, but if you stay around this zone forever and you're doing every single side quest and you're turning 74 or 75, the enemies at highest will be 73. So there's a little bit of scaling there. They'll never be below that minimum range, and they'll be above that maximum range. In terms of the gear level from the green crest rewards, I've really meant to write these numbers down. I just have not remembered to do it. The stuff on Isle of Dorn, honestly, it's like below 500. It's just, I didn't ever even pay attention to it. I think the zone 2 is kind of low 500s. And then starting in Hollow Fall is where stuff starts to get interesting for me. My character is like item level, so like 515 stuff, right? Because this is like, I just did mythic +2 +4 kind of dungeon stuff. I didn't do any raiding, I wasn't doing high level mythics or anything like that. So kind of casual, I guess. Anyways, so I still don't bother equipping any stuff, but once you get to the 4th zone, stuff is getting like the 530s. So this is where if you're mythic at 528, maybe some of this stuff is starting to look good for you, and for me certainly it's looking good. In terms of enemy HP, I don't think people realize how much the enemy HP scales up over time. So these like level 70 mobs, like a standard sort of mob, 111k, right? So of course there's like mobs that come in groups, and they have like less HP, you know, but just for like the single enemies all across the zone would be 111k. That's at level 70. At level 75, they've gone up 4 times to 444k. By 78, they've gone up 8 times. And once you're at level 80, it's like 12 times. Okay, so by the end of, so in the leveling process, enemies get like 8 to 10 times more HP. And that's why leveling gets so much slower the later you get, right? Which I don't think most people are realizing. Because like a lot of people will be like, well, why do you want to do the pet battles, the profession stuff at the end? Why don't you just do it at the start? Well, the reason you want to do it at the end is because questing is the slowest at the end of the leveling process. The advantage of your like really good, you know, epic gear and gems and enchants and all that stuff, it just diminishes over time. Just so show a practical example here. So this is the exact same character, exact same gear, at level 70 on the left, level 79 at the right. You'll notice agility and stamina have gone up a ton. Okay, so agility is about doubled, stamina is about doubled, but the amount of secondary stats it takes to make like 1% crit has gone up so much that crit has been cut in half from 48% to 25%. Mastery's been cut in half from 56 to 29. Speed's been cut in half from 12 to 5. So that's just from going level 70, 79. Now, because of all that all that extra main stat, your tooltip damage does go up quite a bit. So just some like really rough napkin math here. So for Rising Sun Kick, RSK, The tooltip says it hits for 108. It was on a different character when I did this, but so about 108, and then at 79, it says it hits for about 175k. But you get much less mastery. You have a much lower chance to crit. So average hit's gonna be 250 over here and 280 over there. So maybe 10-15% damage increase. Okay. So your damage goes up 10 to 15% maybe. Wearing identical gear just from the stat change. But keep in mind, the enemy's health has gone up 8 times. Okay. So it is a very significant difference. That is why your time to kill enemies at the later levels is so much slower. Also, these enemies are hitting you for much harder relative to your health pool. So you're having to use more GCDs on like healing yourself and using defensives. You're making smaller pulls. Like here in the first like four levels, I can't pull enough enemies to hurt myself. Like I just cannot pull enough enemies. It's not possible. The distance that with the leash, you can get 40-50 enemies. It just doesn't matter. Okay. By mid game, I'm pulling more like 10, and then by like the last zone, I'm not really going over 6 mobs at a time. Right. Obviously, if you have 15 items level more in your mythic gear, maybe you're still pulling 10 mobs by the last zone. But just some important things to keep in mind. The reason I'm just talking about this stuff is I just really want to impress upon you the importance of like the banked XP that you make from pet battles or professions, all that sort of stuff. It really should be done at the end of your run, right? And then another factor on top of all that is you really want to get ahead of the group, right? So you don't want to waste any time at the start of the expansion, like going around and doing professions and pet battle tournaments and stuff, because then you're behind the group and that's just gonna screw you, right? So that's just the general info stuff. In terms of mods, I had a couple people ask about questions about mods. Latrix Plus is like the general sort of mod that I see most people using. It's a great multi-purpose mod. It automates turning in and picking up quests. It tries to automate gossip, but doesn't do it very well at it. It automatically sells. If you ever open a vendor, it automatically sells through all your trash. It also automatically repairs, which you shouldn't be dying much anyways. So here are the settings I have. Some other stuff. It also has a faster auto loot option, which is great. It definitely makes a big difference. And it has a movie skip. The movie skip isn't that great. I think cinematic canceler is probably better, so I might end up getting that. But so that is Latrix Plus. Like I said, it doesn't do very good with gossip in this expansion. There's tons of quest NPCs who have a like little white text at the bottom that's like, oh, talk to me about some lore, and they'll give you like this long speech. If they have that gossip option there, Latrix will just not turn in or pick up the quest. So you have to manually go and turn and pick up the quest on those NPCs that have that gossip option. And honestly, there's like 20 or 30 NPCs in the leveling path that have this. It's really annoying. But if you also install Quick Quest and have both of them running, they're both auto turn-in mods. But when you run both of them together, they just work great. Quick Quest seems to be much better at all the auto gossip. So for like example, the quests where, like for example, the first quest in Dornogal, we have to go and talk to the Flight Master and the Innkeeper and Bran. If you do that with Latrix Plus, you have to manually click each one of those quest options, quest dialogue options. Quick Quest will do that automatically. So just things like that. I tried running Quick Quest on its own, and I kept getting some weird bugs where like my character would get stuck and not be able to move. So don't run Quick Quest by itself, but running both of those together at the same time. I've done at least 5 runs now with both of them, and no problems. Okay. I will note there's only 2 quests that I found that like don't work well. It's not a big deal, but so for Latrix Plus, Alt is the key that's set up to disable the auto turn and stuff, and then for Quick Quest, Shift is the key that does it. So there's 2 quests where I have to hold down Shift so that Quick Quest doesn't mess them up, and that's the in the Rumbling Deeps, the second zone, and the Rumbling Deeps, that side quest area with the scorpions and the bats and all that sort of stuff. There's that minor, like on the platform, they do some sort of ceremony where they talk, blah blah blah. There's a red skip conversation choice, which Quick Quest will not choose, so it'll just start the like RP event. So you want to hold down Shift and then choose the skip option yourself. And then in the 4th zone, when you first meet the Spider Queen lady, she has 4 blue quest dialogue options that you have to go through and click one by one. You have to just hold down shift so quick quest doesn't skip through that. Those are the only 2 parts where I've had any problem. So these 2 together, great, definitely do them. Some optional stuff. TomTom's really good. I don't use it for like anything like during the speed run, but just like if you're ever on Wowhead like trying to find something, people are gonna be listing coordinates and waypoints, and people use them in like general chat all the time. So like it's just really nice to have TomTom because I feel like most of the player base has it. If you want like a resizable, movable map that you can like actually fly around and like still see where you're going, rather than have like a giant fucking map that like you can't see anything, there's plenty of mods out there that let you adjust map. This one's called Mapster. It's worked fine for me. So that's an option. Some other stuff. If you want something that shows movement speed, like the Blizzard UI for movement speed is just fucking atrocious. And like you have so many different kinds of speed and the way they add together and blah blah blah. So I don't have 12% movement speed. I have far more than that. So monkey speed is this little bubble right here, and it just shows you your current movement speed. It's definitely not needed, but like when comparing stuff, I've really liked it. Let's see, do I have the trinket on? Yeah. All right, so I have 146 movement speed. I get a kill. I go up to 155 because of this trinket. If I eat bonefish, go up a little bit higher. So yeah, for movement speed, that's pretty good. Additionally, this is what I used to use until I found that mod. There's a macro, this script right here. You can get this, and when you spam it, it shows up in chat with your move speed. And it seems very accurate, but you have to hit it right, which is a little bit annoying. Okay. So anyways, let's see. Rare scanner, I would definitely have this turned off when you're trying to speed level, because it constantly goes off. It's very distracting. It marks stuff all over your map. You're gonna see all these treasures, like pink boxes, blah blah blah. Turn that shit off. Don't have it on. But once you're done and you're like at level 80 trying to do shit, rare scanner is pretty good because you'll probably want to be looting those treasures and stuff. And then if you want this XP bar, I had some people ask about this. This is just Luxthos. He's a Twitch WoW streamer. Really nice guy. So he has this out for free. So you have to download weak ores, of course, and you have to import the weak ore for this. And then I'll give you the bar. So that's basically it for mods, macros, kind of stuff. For buffs and items, the number one thing that you should get is the yak fur. So that's number 6 right here. Tuft of yak fur. It puts you on a 400% speed ground mount for, I think it's like 25 seconds or so. It's really annoyingly large. It loves to get caught on like little rocks and stuff because its hitbox is huge. So that's annoying. Like it can't go through doorways and archways, blah, 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 but you can use it infinitely. So it doesn't have like a 5-minute cooldown, for example. It has like a 3-second cooldown. So literally you can just like kind of spam it. I farmed out 200 of these on like my main characters and then like 40 or so on like my alts that I plan to level in the first like week or so. In my speedrun that I uploaded, I think I ended up using like 40 or 50 of them. But like I'm a monk, so like I mean I have 2 rolls, and I have Flying Serpent Kick, and I have Tiger's Lust. So I have so many movement options. There's lots of times where if I need to go 30 feet, I don't bother using the yak. But if you're another class, the yak could be amazing, and maybe you'll use like 100 of them in a run. This is definitely something that I think Blizzard could nerf. For those that have been around for a long time, this has always been a speed item in the game. It used to be a 3-use speed item. It was a unique soulbound item. You got it. You still get it from, let's see if I can pull this up. You go to WoW and find this information, but there is a elite yak right here, Pingosh or something. He drops 3 charges of this. He respawns every 10 minutes. Harleton just put out a video about this, and so like I think there's a lot of people that are going to be camping it, so you might not be able to get this uncontested, but it's right out here in Pandaria. He drops 3 every time. He respawns every 10 minutes. So yeah, it's pretty easy to farm up the lowest for any competition. But yeah, they're amazing. So yeah, it used to be one single item, soulbound, unique. You can only have one of them and had 3 charges. And then because Pandaria, this apparently is dropping, they changed it. Changing it on the Pandaria remix also changed it on live servers. So now it's an item that just stacks up to like 999, I guess. So yeah, it's amazing. In terms of use, I would put it on your mount hotbar that you can use it while mounted. So what you'll see me doing the speed run is I'll approach an area that I'm going to do like an AoE pull, and I'll just kind of like airdrop, because you can't summon it in combat. So if you land first, then you get put in combat, and you're like, oh shit, I can't use the mount. So I kind of like do a little airdrop. It's silly, but you know, it works. So yeah, that's the best way I found to use it. And then of course, like in terms of AoE grouping up things, you know, everything has a leash range of like whatever 100 yards or whatever it is. So your ideal plan is you drop down that mount and you go in a big circle and you loop back to where you started, sort of like in the middle. And then so the stuff over here and the stuff over there, neither one resets because you're kind of in like the middle, right? So that's the plan. If you want to see that shit in action, I did it a ton of times in the speedrun. So yeah, that's amazing. You definitely will need to have a cancel aura for this, okay? So I put the stuff here. The way I've set it up is I have a cancel aura. It's all of these things at once. So cracked Radnax is another option, but like basically these are useless unless they nerf Yakper. Radnax and Ali Shaped Horn are very similar, like fast mounts. Also Gunshoes, Goblin Glider. So I just put all these together. I actually have them in my mount macro. Just because like to go down in keybinds. So it works fine for me. And if I want to summon the mounts, you know, I'm not moving, of course. So yeah, that's the way I have it set up. But you definitely want a cancel macro for that. You don't want to like go and try and go up here and like click the buff off, because you can't stop this. It's auto running, right? So there's no way to stop this. You can walk. So if you have walk toggle, you can do that. Just like with Gunshoes, you can do that. I haven't been doing that for anything in the expansion. Sometimes there's stuff that you could like speed next to it, slowly walk, and you could like spam click on it and get credit for the quest, and you could just like caps lock again, or whatever your auto run move or run toggle key is. For me, it's caps lock. But yeah, and similar for Gunshoes. Gunshoes, like once again, because Yakper is so amazing, I haven't been using Gunshoes. I have a stack of them. I think there's 2 locations in the game where you can use Gunshoes, but you can't use the Yak. But Gunshoes have a 3-minute cooldown. So Gunshoes go at 300% plus whatever your movement speed is. So the Yak goes at 400% for everybody. Well, more maybe if you're like a Death Knight, right? Or a Paladin with Red or with Mount Aura. But yeah, so Gunshoes are quite good, but just Yak is just so much better now. And so maybe cases where you're like trying to save your vigor, right? So for quest hubs where you're just doing a hop, like, okay, there's an NPC here, and then I have to go 50 feet over here and do that. And then I'm going over here, trying and picking up something there. I'm going over here, and then pretty soon, like I'm running out of vigor. In that case, maybe you want to use some of this mount to get around. So that and AoE grouping are those are the things I use it for. Battle standards. These are from Guild Rep. The best one is 15%, then at 10%, then 5%. You just macro them all together. This doesn't show the cooldowns correctly. Like there's probably a better way to get like a weak aura for this. But what this will do, it will use the strongest one because that's the one at top. When you use a banner, the other 2 are put on cooldown for 2 minutes, and the one that's been used is put on cooldown for 10 minutes. All right. So in a minute and 45 from now, I can use, when I push this button, it'll use the second level one. Right. I definitely could do much better at using these banners whenever I do big AoE pulls. I try and do it, but like I'm definitely missing some opportunities there. One special note here for guild banners is that bonus objectives, which I don't think they're shown on the map because this character hasn't done the intro quest, so I can't see them. But bonus objectives, they're literally called bonus objective. Like there's one over here with the kobolds, there's one with the mushrooms, there's one there, right? So these big yellow areas on the side, they'll say bonus objective, and it's usually just like kill some things, do some random things, and it gives you a big chunk of XP. Here in Donegal, they're worth like 25k, and then the one up here in Hollowfall is worth like 35k. For some reason, the runs in Ringing Deep are only worth like 11k, so they're not worth doing. But anyways, those bonus objectives, the completion of that, for some reason, seems to count as a kill, which means it's buffed by the guild banner. So 15% extra on a 35k quest. It's pretty nice, right? It's not like game breaking or anything, but it's very nice. So when you're in a bonus objective, the ideal scenario is you do a little bit of the bonus objective, and then when you're sure that you can complete it, you just do like a big AoE pull, drop the banner, so you get the AoE bonus, you get the bonus for all the AoE mobs that you're killing, and then when the quest completes, you get the bonus for that from the banner. So just want to point out that, and it's been like that since guild banners were introduced back in Draenor. I don't know how many people know about it, but definitely works. And yeah, so there's a macro there for all of them. Uses 3 in cooldown. In terms of other stuff that you might want to have, I think the Charged Vial of Alacrity is worth getting. This is your flask buff slot. So it gives you 744 speed, lasts for 30 minutes. You can take it twice and it'll give you a 60-minute buff. Of course, it scales down if you already have a bunch of speed. So like this character is already at 146. So it gives me 7%, 7 to 8%. I forgot what the decimals were. Right, so not as big, but if you're at 100% speed, it'll give you 15%. So I definitely think it's the flask to use. You could also use like a versatility flask if you want to reduce damage, but I don't really think that's necessary. Anyways, fried bonefish. This is from Shadowlands, so it's really old at this point, but it's still the only food option until a little bit later in your leveling path. So, I already ate this. So this is one of those, when you kill something, you'll get a small speed buff. Did I write the numbers down here? And this even works on critters, which is nice. Doesn't have to be enemies that give XP. But yeah, you get a 5-second buff of 838% or 830 speed, 838 speed. Jeez, sorry. So that's a little bit more than the flask even. So I think it's worth doing. Like, I mean, it takes 10 seconds to get the buff up. So like, it's not the end of the world if you're like, oh gosh, I've been leveling in the past 10 minutes and I have a food buff. There'll be times throughout the run where you're like stuck in a lore conversation, right? And I'll just plop down and I'll spend 10 seconds, I'll get my food buff back up. You'll see me do it a couple times throughout the run. I do also want to make special mention of the new speed food that is exquisitely eviscerated muscle. It is found in the 3rd zone in Hollowfall. It's really easy to unlock. I made a video that talks about it over on YouTube, so just check that out. Basically, you just have to buy a special piece of meat from a vendor in one town, and then later you'll be in a second town, and there'll be a lynx, a big cat there. You give him the meat, and he takes 45 seconds to walk off, and he digs up a treasure. And inside that treasure is a copy of the recipe and 2 pieces that are already prepared. The exquisitely eviscerated muscle scales up as you level. So at level 75, it gives you about 2,000%, not 2,000%, 2,000 speed value. Okay, at 77. And that level 80, it gives you 6,000 speed. So at level 80, with no other speed movements, like enhancements or anything, that's, I think, 22% movement speed. So it's fucking bonkers. I think it's the best. I think it's the best food in the game. Like, it's better than the Epic Feast, which gives you like 1% main stat, 20% movement speed, or 1% main stat. Like, I mean, for open world content, for dungeons, for Mythic Plus, for raids, I just think that 20% movement speed it's just way too good. If you're a panda, for the first time ever, your panda buff actually works on this. Excuse me, your Pandaren racial, which is the increases the well-fed buff. Where is that listed? General. Yeah, Epicurean. So generally, this doesn't work on the speed foods because they're a proc, That happens when you kill something, and that doesn't get boosted. But eviscerated, exquisitely eviscerated muscle is a permanent speed boost, so that gets doubled. So a panda at level 80 gets 12,000 speed. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, so I definitely think it's worth picking up that food in your leveling course. And like I said, it goes up in value. I think it goes up like almost 1,000 each time you level up. And if you level up while the food buff's already on, it doesn't change in value. So if you're like almost about to level by the time you get that food, it might be like worth waiting and then eating that food like the next time you level up. But I mean, that food is really good. It takes like no time out of your run. Like really, it takes 10 seconds extra to your run, and it gives you an awesome speed food buff. So that's worth getting along the way. Gumshoes, honorable mention here. Like I said, with the Yak, Gumshoes really needed, but like definitely carry a stack with you. I think at some point they'll nerf the Yak. They'll probably just make it not work outside of Pandaria or something. Notes about the Gumshoes, like I said, it's 300% plus some bit of your own personal speed. As it lasts for 25 seconds. Downside is got a 3-minute cooldown, but still worthwhile carrying around a stack. You can also toggle walk when that's on, and maybe you can do some snazzy stuff with it, right? So maybe you have to click on something there. You have to click on something there. I used it a lot in like dragon flights, where like you get to a new town and there's like 5 people to talk to. So you go talk to them, you go over here, talk to that guy, go over here, walk, talk to that guy. So it's like great for that kind of stuff. But now we've got unlimited Yak, so like it's just not really needed. Let's see what else. The usual like offensive, defensive, consumable stuff, like some healing potions. And Dreamwalker's the best, but like it only heals for what 300,000, and your HP like scales drastically as you level up. You'll eventually find these little Cave Walker potions. Cave Dweller Delight. They heal for 2.5 million. Those are in any of the random treasures around the map. You'll find these. This actually uses your potion, your like DPS potion cooldown, but you'll get that in case you like need some healing along the way. I just bought a bunch of elemental potion of unlimited power, just because they're pretty cheap, and I just have them macroed into my storm, earth, and fire because I don't want to worry about pressing a button for that. So I think I end up using like, I don't know, 50 of them a run or something. A vendor, a mount with a vendor on it is very nice. There'll be times where like you're stuck in a conversation, there's nothing else you can do, so you can just mount up and you can like vendor some stuff. You never really need to repair, but it's there if you want it. And Latrix Plus will make it so you auto vendor whenever you click on the vendor. I have a bunch of teleport items, but I'll talk about that in a separate pet battle video. Some additional stuff. I think it's always worth having goblin gliders. They're like really cheap. I crafted, I don't know, like it's like 10,000 of these. I think these are Draenor, right? And so you could use like garrison mats. I think it's like the ore and the cloth that's like super cheap from Draenor. So I crafted out like honestly like thousands of these. And they stacked like 200 now, I think. So always worth having. There isn't any place in the speedrun where I actually use them. But there is one honorable mention here. Like maybe like you're flying along, you accidentally hit a button, or you fly through a flying enemy that hits you and you get dazed and you fall. Like maybe it saves you from falling down. So those are always nice. Yeah, so we'll go to Falling Flame real quick. So Falling Flame is a very, very hard to get item. It drops from a rare out in Timeless Isle, Cinderfall, and this fucking thing, honestly, you can spend hours and hours. I think Cinderfall spawns every 30 minutes or something. But I think you have a increased chance to get it once per day. I want to say, I don't know. It is a huge pain in the ass to farm. It's soulbound. Your character just basically has to sit out Timeless Isles for fucking ever. I don't think it's worth it. Speed levelers like love to like try and find a place to use it. Like they desperately try to find a place to use it. I just don't think it's useful. Not since we got dragon riding. There'll be some people like, oh, well, you can save some vigor. No, it's just not fucking worth it, man. It's very fucking cool though. The best way to use it, if you just use it by itself, it sends you in a giant arc that you can't control. The best way to do it is a macro that pops your glider and then pops the item, and you just need to have like a little bit of space where you can jump into the air and then pop it. So like, yeah, this is really fucking cool, right? It goes at like 900% speed, or wait, maybe it's 1500% speed, whatever. It's faster than a flying mount. But like, you can't change elevation, so you have to have practiced this a bunch to be like, okay, I'm trying to go over here, and if it's like something that you're gonna overshoot, you just like click it off early, and you have to like adjust for the arc that you're going at, and it's just like, so my cancel order will get rid of the flag, and then once you've not the flag, the glider. So once you cancel the glider, you can't control it anymore. So yeah, it looks cool. It's just not worth your time farming out, guys. If you farmed it out before, it's got 50 charges. So mine still has 15 charges. I think I farmed this one out like 3 expansions ago. Go back to the Shadowberry real quick. If you are having trouble with health, the Shadowberry is actually really good. Well, not really good, but it's fine. It heals you for 2% of your health every 5 seconds for 1 minute. So it's the percentage, so it scales no matter what your HP is. It's 2% every 5 seconds, so it's not like an emergency heal. But if you're finding that you're just like constantly running low in health, you can just pop this. It has no or it has a 10-second cooldown, but it doesn't put anything else on cooldown. Like, it's not on the potion cooldown or anything. Like, you can still healing potion. Those are unrelated. This item is farmed from a specific named mob out in Draenor. You can look at the WoW page. Out in Shadowmoon Valley, it's soulbound, but you can farm as many as you want. The mob drops like 3 at a time, and she respawns every 60 seconds. So you can get 20 to 40 of these like super quick. That's just if you like need a little bit of sustained healing. And then, oh god, there's some shadow here. I just put on there just to flex. So if you have the Legion intro event and you never completed it, you know, the Legion event from, I don't know, what was that, 12, 15 years ago? There's actually an armor buff that you can still get. It still works to this day. I report it like every expansion. I'm like, hey, Blizzard, you know, I can still get this buff. It doesn't work in instances, so like Blizzard just doesn't give a shit. But it gives you 30% armor for an hour. It doesn't work in instance combat, or like it'll be clear when you go into an instance. But there we go, 30% armor. Darkmoon Fair buff. So if you got the Darkmoon Fair buff, not the hat, you have to get the carousel buff. The hat goes away when Darkmoon Fair leaves, but the carousel buff will stay on your character for 60 minutes. So basically, the last Darkmoon Fair before an expansion launch, you should be logging out your characters with the carousel buff. So I think on my monk, I've had to keep logging onto the monk to like changing macros and stuff like that. So I think my monk has about 50 minutes left on the buff. And then probably like I'll log in early, so like I'm waiting in Dalaran, so the buff will be taken off then, but like I'll get like maybe 40 minutes out of it. So that's like 40 minutes of 10% bonus XP. Currently in my route calculations, it's giving me about 60k extra HP, or 60k extra XP. So it's not bad. You just can't log into your character for a couple weeks. Sorry, my voice is going here. Things that do not work, just so you know, all the Ruby feast buffs, like either the items that are in Valdrakken or the ones that you got, the one-time items you got, they worked in beta for like a little bit, but they definitely don't work anymore. They were nerfed a long time ago. But there's some amazing items, like 30% movement speed or like 30% more crit damage. So those don't work anymore. Also, the wild dragon fruit, this doesn't work anymore. Once you leave Draenor, you can no longer eat these. This is the PvP like speed potion, 150% for 12 seconds. It worked until like about 2 weeks ago. I think some people made videos about it, and so Blizzard nerfed it. But yeah, so that stuff doesn't work. So definitely get Yak It's amazing. Get the banners if you haven't already. Charge file, bonefish. Try and get that new food once you get to it. Some gun shoes, some gliders and stuff as backups. All very worthwhile. All right. Gear enchant. Basically, your highest item level stuff. Your tier set's probably pretty good for you. Pray to RNG gods that you get some pieces that roll with tertiary speed on them. I actually didn't get a single piece of gear that has tertiary speed on it. The other two characters that I actually play regularly, a DK and a paladin, they both have 2 or 3 pieces with speed on it. I didn't get anything, but my monk already has 155 speed just from like talents and all the enchants that you can do. So there's a cloak enchant, a bracer enchant, an agility chest enchant that also gives speed. There's no strength or an intellect version, so you have to decide if you're one of those. If you're a strength or intellect class, or if you're a strength or intellect class, you have to decide for yourself whether it's worth it to just get agility and speed. So yeah, those are listed there. Of course, you can do the medallions for more gems, blah blah blah. For weapon, lofty devotion, proc speed. So maybe that. The most important thing I would encourage people to do is to get some speed boots, right? So there's a little bit of a trick here. There's a very old boot enchant that's called Minor Speed. This is the Wowhead link, right? Yeah. Okay. It gives you a flat 10% movement speed. It doesn't stack with everything. Like there's some diminishing returns, but it's better than all of the other boot speed enchants by far. You have to get this minor speed one. It's really old. It can only be applied to items that are item level 320 or lower. So what you do is you go to the auction house and you buy some of the crafted BOE basic boots. So this is the leather version. You know, there's plate, there's mail. They should be item level 320, but this is showing the wrong one. In the current season, they're 320, right? So you go to the auction house, there'll be plenty of them. Choose the stats you want. Buy the boots, put the enchant on them, right? You have to put the enchant on them first, all right? It's very important. You must apply the enchant before the next step. The next step is you do a recrafting order with the enchanted Whelpling's crest, which raises the item level to 486, right? So that's how I got these Pioneer leather boots, 486, with the minor speed boot increase that's not supposed to be applied to anything over 320, right? So nice little trick. It doesn't actually give me 10%, I think, because I am in diminishing returns. Oh no, it is still giving me 10%. Okay, great. So 10% there. Definitely worth it. Sorry, I'm just trying to get back to Dornogal. Let's see what else. Oh, trinkets. Trinkets are worth talking about. I strongly recommend one like nuke trinket. I think the best one by far is Manic Reef Torch. It only works for, oh, I shouldn't say that. It's an agility or strength trinket, right? So if you're an intellect class, I mean, you can still buy it. You won't get the main stat from it, which kind of sucks. There is an intellect version that does a nuke. I don't play any casters though, so. But yeah, Manic Reef Torch is the best because you can keep moving while casting it. So you'll see me in the run, like I'll be just like sprinting towards a boss and I'll be spamming the trinket button and the boss will be dead before we even get to each other. Like, right? So you just pop it as you're running towards it. It does a shit ton of damage at 515, which is the max I could level it up to. It's doing a little bit over 1 million damage. So it basically one-shots everything until you get like later on in the expansion. But that plus Touch of Death for my monk, like I'm just able to one-shot like all the high HP mobs. So definitely get one of the Manic Reef Torch. I have this. So you're not gonna be able to get this, but Hunger of the Pack. This is from season 1 of Dragonflight. I kept it because I knew it would be useful for leveling. This one gives you 800 speed 10 seconds after you kill something. So it's like a second version of the Bonefish buff. I just wear it because like I don't need the other item level. But for most people, trinkets that have like an ICD are actually pretty good. So something like this, like the bleed is useless, but like you'll see the Ghost Raptor come up sometimes and he'll just do a 200k hit, right? So occasionally it'll just one-shot some enemies for you. There's like there's one with like the centaur. There's a bunch of these like just like damage proc trinkets. So they're balanced so that they're like the same value as a passive stat stick in like a 5-minute boss fight, right? But these things all have internal cooldowns, ICDs, and those ICDs are ticking off, like ticking down. They're like the item's like recharging kind of when you're doing all the other stuff that's not combat. So everyone who's done WoW questing is the same old shit, right? You go to an area, you get 2 quests. One quest is to kill a bunch of things. The other quest is to interact with a bunch of like objects, right? It's always the same. So you're looting boxes, you're opening cages, or you're healing civilians, and then you're killing enemies, or you're killing enemies and getting a drop, or you're killing enemies and filling a bar. Like that's how everything is, right? So you do your group kill, and then you have some interact time. So you're running around, you're opening cages, blah blah blah. And while you're doing that, these ICDs are ticking down, so you get like more relative value from them. So that's why I think they're a little bit better than like a flat stat stick, but feel free to use like a flat stat stick, right? So this is just agility and crit. So those are fine. There is another nuke option. There's the Beacons to the Beyond. I don't like this one as much because you can't move and you have to sit and channel it. So it has like a 2-second cast time or something, and you have to just like stand in one spot and cast it. It does better AoE than the Grief Torch, which is mainly single target, but I just don't like using it. I think Harald in his video recommended like setting up a macro to swap them, and like I've set up the macro, but like I don't want to do it, man. Like so I can do Alt C and it swaps it, so it swaps my trinket 13 spot. Whenever you swap a trinket, it puts on 30-second cooldown. But so basically you have to be thinking 2 minutes ahead. Okay, so I've used my Grief Torch. There's another high HP mob coming up soon, so I'm gonna trinket swap when I'm out of combat, and I need to do at least 30 seconds before I get into the next combat with this thing, blah blah blah. It's not worth the min-maxing, in my opinion. Especially because I got fucking Touch of Death, I got all these other cooldowns. Nothing in this game stays alive long anyways, even with my meager 515 gear. So like, I don't think trinket swapping is worth it. I think you're so much better off remembering the 1,000 things you have to remember for like each quest. Like, okay, there's these items are easy to loot over here, so I should go to this area, and it's easy to get kills over in that area, and then when I'm done with this quest, I need to fly over there, so I need to save some vigor, like all that kind of shit. That's what your mental processing power should be going to, not fucking trinket swapping. I don't think it's worth it. So yeah, let's see, anything else? Yeah, so I say all that there. Right, level route. This is a work in progress. So I am going to do a final run tonight where I end and I turn in the campaign quest and I open up adventure mode. Once that happens, every character in my count is always in adventure mode, so I've been avoiding it. But tonight we're going to do that. I'm going to try and do a lot less side quests, and I'm going to try and maybe end around like level 78, and then I'll have 2 quests worth, and I'm going to check out what does it feel to hop into Isle of Dorn in adventure mode. So we see that this works. Haraldin did it on one of his streams. When you turn that final quest that says unlocks adventure mode, your character is immediately put into adventure mode, so everything scales to your level, and so you can go and do Isle of Dorn at level 78. You know, everything is level 78, so you're getting the correct amount of XP, and you should be in your own phase. I can't say that 100%, but it seems like 90% confidence, I would say you're into a different phase. So you shouldn't run into people that are slowly leveling through Dorn. You should be in your own phase of other adventure mode people. So my question then is, how fast can I do the Isle of Dorn side quests? Because it seems like there's a lot of like really good side quests. So I definitely want to see if that's going to be the best leveling plan. So this leveling route is still in progress. I'll get to that a little bit later. I just got to test some of this stuff. Pet battles, I haven't worked on this yet. I still have my other spreadsheet, so I'll work on that. Crafting for XP, I did a little video about this. I'm still working on some of the numbers here. But yeah, so this guide, once again, it's in the comment below. Feel free to use it. Feel free to like make your own copy and do some changes. and I'll keep this updated today or tomorrow, and then probably be finalized after that. Yeah, this video was much longer than I thought it would be. I apologize. Hopefully you watched it on 2x speed, and hopefully you have ad blockers so you don't see any ads. All right,